Carla here has both greater wolfblood and ancient bloodline. And I thought those two were exclusive of each other, but they're not. You can have both. And I'm going to walk through with no mods and no cheats how I did that in the first place, only with the updates that have happened for the various patches. I know I have another video recapping this, and it's my most popular video, so I wanted to address some of the difficulties that some people have been having with this. So if you're new here, this is my Super Sim series. My name is Charity, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know where you are in creating your Super Sim. What parts of this is worth it and what parts aren't. A playlist with my take on this series will be in the description below if you want a more detailed account of how I did this and how I figured it out. Now, of course, everything starts in Kaz, and if you do not have some of these packs, that's okay. You can skip that part. And also, if you don't like the benefit that a particular trait provides, then you don't have to do that as well. So for the first trait that I'm going to do, we're going to get an alien. So we're going to add a sim, add an occult sim, and we're going to choose the alien. And then we just get rid of the other sim that we had. So it doesn't matter what this guy looks like, but what we'll do for him is assign the trait Child of the Islands. His other traits don't really matter, but it's best not to pick overachiever or socially awkward or anything else like that. Just pick something like cheerful and romantic. And for his aspiration, I would pick a popularity aspiration. It doesn't matter which one, but the goal is to get this gregarious trait. Now, that doesn't really matter, but it does help a little bit when it comes to making friends. And his name doesn't really matter either. So this is not a sim that we're actually going to be playing with, but this sim helps us start the process. And to make this sim an alien means that the Super Sim will be able to do the alien handshake. And that's the only benefit of making the first sim an alien to start with. So if you don't care about the alien handshake, you do not have to pick an alien as your first sim. Also, if you don't have get to work, you won't be able to do this step. And then the Child of the Islands is for having Sulani mana, and that is dependent on having island living. Okay, and we started out in a home in Sulani, but you can really be in any home. For some reason, this one has no furniture, but we won't worry about that. It does help for this process if you go into Kaz and make this a tiny home, which means you will also have to reduce the size of any lot that you're in. So let's go ahead and make this a micro home. Okay, for some reason, if you try to summon the island elements during a holiday, it doesn't like that. So I guess we have to cancel the holiday. And then click on the sim and summon island elementals. And then we just have to wait for them to appear. And it doesn't matter which one you pick, but just pick one of them and introduce yourself. Why is she famous? Lily Barron? Great. Yeah, the game unfortunately will pick ghosts that are already in your game and have the Sulani mana trait. So we're not getting Lily. Lily is the mother of my current Super Sim. So anyway, we'll pick Kalama. Okay, she doesn't really care much for us. That is unfortunate. Why? She instantly hated us. This is weird. Does she have bad compatibility with us? Maybe this is harder to do now that we have Love Struck in the game. Let's try the other one. I think maybe this might be a result of Love Struck because this never happened before where I introduced someone and I'm instantly disliked. Okay, this one was the opposite. I was actually instantly liked. Okay, so we're going to choose Nawe. I can't say that. I don't know how to say that. Let's just add her on Social Bunny. And I only had to send her 3 messages in order to max out our relationship bar. So the next step would be to look for ask to move in. And it says this will cause the elemental to become a mortal sim. So it is not under the friendly category. It is just the default menu. But you have to be already talking to her, otherwise it won't work. And it instantly makes her alive. Now, I know some people have been having some issues with that. I don't know why. It used to be a bug that would not work, but for some reason it always works for me in my game. If it doesn't work for you, then I consider it not cheating to go on the gallery and download Ambrosia, because that ghost is supposed to be alive when you invite them into the household. So go ahead and have them eat the ambrosia if they're not alive, and that will make this much easier. So I went ahead and canceled the event. Oh, and another thing I need to do first is actually make this on ley line. So that's very important because that allows you to have multiples when you're trying to do this, and some of this is a little bit of an element of chance. So you want to always have on ley line so that you get twins more often, and you won't have single babies hardly at all. You might get triplets, but it's more important to at least have twins. Okay, and then we're going to immediately have a science baby with this person. It's under relationship now for some reason. Okay, it's a girl. We're going to name her Scarlet. And a boy named Devin. So we did get twins. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate with the mother here what this trait does. Sulani mana means that they can increase the quality of plants as well as summon volcanic bombs. Now, volcanic bombs is kind of a destructive action, but it's not too bad. Summon volcanic bomb. So basically, she makes a big fireball, she throws it in the sky, and it comes back down as a lava rock, which you can then collect. Oh, there it is. Okay. It takes a little while. And at first, it is very hot, and it might start a fire. So I don't recommend doing this unless you're okay with starting a fire. If you try to touch it, you might catch on fire. But then after this cools, it becomes a collectible. And that's kind of an easy way to get some collectibles. It's not that great, but it's okay. And then the other thing that she can do is if there is a plant somewhere, I'm not sure if there's any plants around that I can try this on, but she can basically instantly evolve. Okay, here's one. So if she did Sulani mana on this one, or Gift of Sulani, it would make this a better quality plant. Now, since this is a wild plant, it won't work, but if you have plants on your home lot, she can increase the quality 1 step. So a normal plant would become a nice plant, I think. I think nice is the first step. And then she can once a day, once every 24 hours, evolve a plant, which is not that great compared to the golden chickens, but it's kind of cool to call down flaming rocks from the sky. Okay, for our next step, we just need to age these infants up, or newborns actually. Okay, and both of our infants have Sulani mana. That should be 100% chance of being passed down. And the reason why I get this trait first is because every next generation should also have the Sulani mana trait. It always passes down from parent to child with 100% chance. Then we have to bake a cake in order to age these infants up. Why did she interrupt him baking the cake to hand him the infant? I don't get that. I don't know why the default action when you're putting down an infant is to hand it to another adult. I guess because there's no crib. Okay, we'll add some birthday candles, and then we'll start helping them to blow out candles. Okay, I actually want to age up Scarlet all the way first, so we'll go ahead and do that before we start with Devin. Okay, blow out the candles again. Okay, and Scarlet has cheese hair, but that's fine. Okay, in order to make sure that Scarlet is going to be our next in line, we have to make sure first she has Sulani mana, which she should always have Sulani mana. But then when she talks to her father, under the friendly category and activities, there needs to be this secret handshake, and she does have it. So that is our first step, is we made a half alien. And she doesn't have any alien powers except for this secret handshake, which means that she can tell if someone is an alien or a half alien, even if an alien doesn't have the glow and is in disguise, she can always tell that they're an alien. Now, that's not really that great of a power, but the whole point of this is to try and get all of the abilities possible from birth. And this is just one of them. You can choose to skip it, because this one actually makes it a little bit harder to get all the other ones because it becomes random at this point. It should be 100% the first time that you do it, because you have a full alien and a regular sim, and you should always get a half alien. But from this point forward, every time I have to check and see if the alien handshake is there, because it's only a 50-50 chance. Okay, and because teenagers cannot have kids, we will be aging her up to young adult. Okay, I did not get to select another trait. That was weird. She doesn't have another trait. She's only proper and outgoing. I guess that's fine. But, yeah, that is a little weird. I think she's bugged because of that, but all right, whatever. Hopefully that doesn't happen with everyone from now on. That would be a little bit disappointing. But okay, so now that we have Scarlet as a young adult, and she has the half alien trait and the Sulani mana trait, I think the spellcaster traits are the next ones to be worked on. So we're going to move everyone else out of the house. Okay, and unfortunately in this world I don't have Gemma anymore, which is usually my go-to for a spellcaster with a strong bloodline. Alright, since I'm going to have to do this multiple times with a spellcaster that doesn't have ancient bloodline, I went ahead and downloaded Gemma Charm from the gallery and inserted her into my household. Normally, I will go to her house and befriend Daryl or her mother and then move her into my household. And then I also aged her up to a young adult. And when I aged her up to a young adult, she had the same bug where she didn't get the pop-up to get a trait. So that is kind of concerning if this is happening with no mods and no cheats, because I'm not sure why that is happening. And we'll ask her to go have a science baby, and we'll try this again. It's a girl! I think there's a bug with the game. The girls are supposed to be 50% and boys are supposed to be 50%. And I think I did get a boy, my first science baby, but it seems like in all of my other Let's Plays, I am also getting lots and lots of girls. And it's just not anywhere close to 50-50. I understand it's a random number, but it's just been ridiculous, the amount of girls that I'm getting instead of boys. So we're going to use the name Marcella and another girl, Juliet. Okay, so we did get twins again. Hopefully one of them is a half alien. Okay, Marcella, are you a half alien? No. Okay. Okay, Juliet, are you a half alien? No. Okay, well, maybe this isn't going to work. Some people are having trouble getting it to work, and I can believe it because The Sims random number generator has been awful to me lately. I don't know if you've seen my other series, but it's just not random sometimes. I'm going to quit and see if I can get this to work. To be fair, they do look like identical twins. So just in case it's science babies that are broken, we're going to actually have a baby through Woohoo as well. Now you can do this because in Kaz you can actually change any sim to be able to get pregnant or get others pregnant. Okay, interesting. If you try to do a science baby from the point of view of the pregnant sim, it doesn't give you that option. But if you do it from the point of view of Gemma, it does give me that option. Okay, we had a boy, so we did break that streak. And his name is Cruz. And we had a girl, Aubrey. Okay, so these cannot be identical babies at least. Okay, Cruz, are you a half alien? You are! So Cruz is our next heir. And he is ancient bloodline, Sulani mana, and not a spellcaster. So if they're born a spellcaster, for some reason, they don't seem to get the secret handshake. But if they're born not a spellcaster, then they do. It doesn't really matter because even if he was a spellcaster, I was going to turn him into a normal sim. Okay, what I try to do from this point is just add a werewolf to the household. And I'm going to choose the female werewolf because I have a male sim. Okay, now the tricky part. So since Cruz is ancient bloodline and Sulani mana, the next thing we need to do is get the werewolf bloodline. And that's why we made a werewolf in Kaz. So this will be the mother. And we need to have a father that is also a werewolf. It's just quicker to get the werewolf traits that way. So we'll take Cruz to see Greg. And the easiest way to become a werewolf is to provoke Greg. Okay, and we now have werebees. Okay, now Cruz is transforming, so he's officially a werewolf. Okay, we have science babies, and it's a boy, Stetson, another boy, Van, and we had twins, so they're both werewolves. Actually, they're in the werewolf bassinet. I don't know if that means that they're werewolves or not. Okay, yes, Van is actually a werewolf. Okay, so he has no werewolf traits. So it doesn't really matter if he has the activity and he doesn't. Okay. Well, if they don't have the werewolf trait, I guess I don't need to age them up. So what I'm looking for right now is a dormant wolf. And in order to check that, we only have to age them up to infant. But guess what? So Stetson is a dormant wolf. Now, dormant wolf and strong bloodline and Sulani mana. That's what we want. However, we have to make sure that Stetson is also a half alien because that trait does not always carry. I think he's probably not a half alien because here is what I have been noticing is if they're actually born a werewolf or a spellcaster, they tend to not get the half alien trait. So I'm not sure Stetson is actually a werewolf, even though he's also a dormant wolf. So I will have to cure him of being a werewolf, which is annoying if I want him to be the spellcaster with the dormant wolf. Well, let's just check. All right, moment of truth. Stetson, you're now a teenager. Can you do the alien handshake? It looks like no. All right, well, back to the drawing board. Okay, since these two are now werewolves, we'll go ahead and get Madeline pregnant just in case we can do it that way. I'm also going to try continuing to have science babies. Okay, we're eating for two, and we get to have another science baby. Okay, we have a boy, Brody, a girl, Carla. Okay, we'll use Carla, but that's the name of my other super sim. Okay, Brody is a greater wolfblood, and Carla is neither. Okay, so we have to try again. These two won't work. We have a boy, Will, a boy, Gil, and twins. Okay, Will is a dormant wolf, and he was born in this bassinet. He's also human. Okay, so that's good. I think Will should have the alien trait, hopefully. Okay, Will, moment of truth. With that lovely towny outfit, are you a half alien? You are! So we have our dormant wolf. Now, this is the way that you are able to get the ancient bloodline and the greater wolf blood on the same sim, is that you need someone with a strong bloodline and a dormant wolf who is a spellcaster, and then Father Winter must be a werewolf. And then you get your greater wolf blood and your ancient bloodline. Now, the way this has been working is that the half aliens are not being born unless they're born as a human, which can happen as a werewolf, but I did not have to do it that way last time. So I'm not sure how this is going to work, because usually greater wolves are a werewolf at birth, but I think I have seen them not be a werewolf at birth. Yeah, unfortunately, none of the adult birthdays are getting the third trait. That's kind of weird. I think it's a bug. But anyway, we have Will Charm, who is an adult now, and we need to send him off to the magic realm to become a spellcaster. And before we do that, we'll also make the holiday for Father Winter. So tomorrow we're going to add a holiday, and we're just going to put Father Winter there. Then we head to the magic realm, and we need to meet a sage. We won't have to collect the motes, but we do need to become a magic user. All we have to do is ask for the rite of ascension, and the reason why we don't have to do the moat thing is because we have a strong bloodline, which means magic is in our family. So we don't have to do the stupid quest. And we're now a spellcaster. And what that does is we count as a werewolf since we have dormant wolf. And we also count as a spellcaster, since we are a spellcaster, and we have strong bloodline, so our children will have ancient bloodline. Now, the only thing is, I kind of forgot that Father Winter is always male, so we will need to make this sim able to get pregnant. So Sims allows you to customize your, he only has 2 traits. It's a bug. Anyway, we can customize the gender, we can become pregnant under gender preferences, and don't do this in game. You actually have to do it from the Manage World screen. Otherwise, it requires a cheat in order to change this. Okay, we now have everything that we need, but we do need to wait for tomorrow at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., whenever Santa shows up. Okay, where is Father Winter? He's supposed to be here. If you don't have a fireplace, he usually appears by your mailbox. But I may have been fast forwarding too aggressively. I don't see him. If there's 20 Sims on the lot, he won't appear. And I don't know where he is. Oh, there he is. Okay, well, that's not Clement Frost, but that's okay. Clement Frost is the best one to have show up because he has 500,000 simoleons in his household, and that's a little bit of a cheat, but it's nice to get your Super Sim started. But I've already used Clement Frost in this particular saves file, so he will never be Father Winter again. And I guess he has to walk all the way to my mailbox. That's unfortunate because he does disappear around midnight. And if he takes until midnight to get there, he's going to disappear right away. Come on. Okay. Now that we've introduced ourselves, we can just add him to Social Bunny. And then it's real easy to actually get him to join the household, but first we'll get a present. Okay, and Father Winter is now in our household. So he's the last step because you have to be Father Winter's direct descendant to get his trait. So he must be the last step in this. Okay, and so we have, to recap, the secret alien handshake, dormant wolf, strong bloodline, and then their child will have Father Winter's baby, and hopefully greater wolf blood, and definitely ancient bloodline. So the next step would be to take them to the lighthouse. And the reason why we're going to the lighthouse is if you have cats and dogs and you woohoo in the lighthouse and get pregnant, then you have a special buff for the lighthouse when you visit it as an adult. And that's another one that's kind of optional. It really doesn't do you very much good, but it's just nice to have all of the possible traits that you can get from birth. So if you go to Brindleton Bay and go to the Dead Grass Discoveries Museum, make sure you set the lot trait on leyline, because the number of kids is set at conception, not at birth. Okay, and once you arrive at the museum here, you go over to the upper right-hand corner, and there's this lighthouse where you can try for a baby. And you can take a pregnancy test with these toilets. However, it is a really long walk, so hopefully this doesn't take more than once. And we're eating for 2. Okay, we can go back home now. Oh, right. I have to turn Santa into a werewolf. I completely forgot about that. Well, this is why I make these videos, because even I, who have done this several times, still get confused as to what step to take next. So having it all written down helps instead of just trying to wing it like I try to do. It should be fine though, because even if he's not a werewolf until after the babies are born, I think he has a chance to pass on the werewolf traits. And if not, I know that Will is actually a werewolf. So we might still get the greater wolf blood, maybe, maybe not. And now Father Winter will fight Greg. And Greg always wins, but I just wanted werebees. Alright, now that we have our werebees, let's go back home. Alright, now this is the part of the video that is really slow and boring because we have to wait for actual pregnancies to happen. But science babies have made this progress a lot quicker. It's just that for this last step, because they have to woohoo in the lighthouse, you have to wait for a baby to be born. Okay, now it's Father Winter's time to become a werewolf. And hopefully that means the babies will have a chance at having greater wolf blood. Okay, finally we've gone into labor and we can see how many babies do we get. And we have a boy named Damien and another boy named Alberto. And that's it, 2 babies. Okay, time to see if we get the greater wolf blood trait or not. Oh, that was so easy. Damien has greater wolf blood, and Sulani mana, and ancient bloodline, and Father Winter's baby. Okay, now the only thing is he half alien? Because probably not, since he's a werewolf. We'll see. And then this one is a dormant wolf, ancient bloodline, and Father Winter's baby. So definitely not Alberto. All right, what you do at this point is save the game. And then because you want to do all of the individual goals at every life stage for the Super Sim, what I do is I use a save and reset so that we can check and see if this child will be half alien. All right, so first we have Damien blow out the candles. And traits at this point really don't matter because you're going to reset the game, so just hit random traits. Just don't pick him up. Put him down. If anybody takes a bite of that cake, I'm blaming you. Okay, Damien, time to become a child. Okay, this is the moment of truth. Damien, are you our super sim? No. Okay, so we did get a greater wolf blood, even though Father Winter was not a werewolf until you were born, but you do not have the secret handshake. So yeah, that kind of tells me that we're going to have to get a regular sim, and I'm not sure that, well, what's wrong with my UI? You're screwed up, aren't you? You're a spellcaster, aren't you? Okay. This is a regression of an old bug. If Damien clicks on Will, the werewolf thing is grayed out because it says Damien has to experience a transformation first. But there's also a magic thing which allows him to start a friendly duel or a heated duel, and he should only be able to do that if he is a spellcaster. So, the return of the hybrids. This sim is both a werewolf and a spellcaster, but he can only access his werewolf abilities. Oh, there's an open spellbook option though. Yes, he can open his spellbook. Okay, so that's one benefit. The only thing is he cannot access his ability point tree. So since Damien cannot access his ability point tree, I wouldn't recommend trying to get a hybrid spellcaster werewolf, although this sim actually would be probably more powerful than my sim as a regular spellcaster, but I don't like that he couldn't really purchase any spellcaster abilities. So my advice is to stay away from these sims because they're actually broken too. It's really hard to see anything on here because you can only see fun, social, bladder, hunger, and energy. You can't see the hygiene need, which I guess is okay, but again, it's just not advised. Okay, I guess that means we have to try again. Back to the lighthouse. Okay, now for our next set of babies. It's a boy, Eric, and another boy, Devin. Okay, what is with all the boys now? Because I have a boy giving birth. It's kind of weird. I just find it kind of weird that the parent tends to match the gender of the child more often than not. Okay, let's find out if Eric has the trait. Okay, looks like Eric is a spellcaster and a dormant wolf. So, not Eric. And Devin looks like a werewolf. It's a werewolf bassinet. Okay, and Devin is a werewolf with no trait. Okay, back to the drawing board. Okay, Davis is a greater wolf blood. And Brayden has no werewolf trait. And we have the spellcaster hybrid once again, who is, well, spellcaster hybrid might be okay as long as they have the, oh, he does have the secret handshake. All right. Okay, so Davis Charm is our super sim. So basically what you would have to do at this point is, because we aged him up, we would reset the game and have him as an infant. And since he's a hybrid, what you would want to do is take him to the magic realm once he ages up to a teen and ask for the Rite of Disillusion, which will take away his spellcasterness, but it will also allow him to access his proper werewolf abilities and not have his UI messed up. And then you would also have to cure him of being a werewolf. And then you would have a regular sim that could change into a werewolf, a spellcaster, a vampire, a mermaid, a plant sim, or any other occult that happens to come out after this, because he's only half alien, and half aliens don't count as technically an occult. But I do notice that I don't get the milestone for changing into a non-occult sim when I remove my spellcasterness, my vampireness, or my werewolfness. So there is the trade-off. If you don't want to have the secret handshake, then you can get the milestone of turning back into a non-occult sim. And the different abilities that he has are, once again, Father Winter's baby. So it says 37. From looking on the bright side, I think this is normally 25. And this one is also 37. So he gets slightly more aspirational reward points for completing any of his wants. And then the Sulani mana is he's able to evolve plants once per day. He can make them go up one level. And he can also summon volcanic bombs. Now, greater wolfblood allows him to earn werewolf experience faster. Plus, when he becomes a werewolf, he's automatically a runt. And he has 4 ability points, whereas most sims would start down as a pup. And then the spellcaster one is the most important, at least the one that I think is the most important, because Ancient Bloodline allows you to gain an additional talent point at each spellcaster rank, and also gain experience faster and reduce the chance of overloading by 50%. So I think that is probably the best trait to have in the game as far as traits that you get from birth, unless you're not going to be a spellcaster at all. So the other thing that he has is the ability to get that buff when he visits the lighthouse. I'm going to age him up to an adult just to make sure that he can get that buff. I don't know if it requires being an adult, but I don't think you can get it as a child. Okay, I think you do have to go upstairs in order to experience it. Okay, here it is. So I've had other people complain that they haven't seen this, but it works for me. It says happy +2 for 4 hours, oddly reminiscent from being at the lighthouse. There's something so familiar about this place. It fills Davis with an inner light. He's positively glowing, because this is where he was conceived, which is kind of an Easter egg. But it's too bad it only lasts for 4 hours. I would be happy if this sort of buff lasted for like 5 days, or maybe it was some other effect other than just making him happy. So here we are once again at the magic realm, and we will introduce ourselves to one of the sages. Okay, we can ask for the rite of disillusion, and this should get rid of our spellcasterness. Okay, yeah, and his UI is now fixed. So yeah, now all you have to do is get a sim who's able to get the werewolf cure ability, and you can make him a regular sim. I advise that for at least the first part of his journey, because certain steps when he's a teenager are not possible being a werewolf or a vampire. I'm not sure about a spellcaster, but I'm sure that you cannot get some of the teenage aspirations done if you're a werewolf or a vampire. So I have a whole playlist where I play out the Super Sim, and I will link that in the description below, as well as on the end card at the end of this episode. So if you would like to see my full playthrough, where I actually do all of the things and discover them one by one, you can watch that playlist. But when I'm done with each life stage, I plan to make a recap like this so that it's very quick and it just has all of my notes of everything that I've discovered. And this one is actually an update to the previous one, because I did this so long ago that some of the things don't work exactly the same way. So this is Charity. Thanks for watching.